How fitting for summer season to be doing it outside. I am having a wild, adventurous, relaxing summer. Let's get into Cancer. What I got reflected in Cancer season. Cancer is in my 10th house, midheaven, the I achieve house. The midheaven is regarding your status, reputation, vocational purpose, so why you strongly feel like what you want to do here, and your power. For a Cancer archetype and vibe, these are the notes I wrote for Cancer. With armor, can endure hardness of the world. Outgrowing shell with internal growth. Repeat with more knowledge and experience. Inner world priority and focus. Work of heart, time of pattern reaction. Even through all the odds, against all the odds, you're still working with love. Having the common sense to still love. That's almost of the high essence of the mothering archetype, right? It's to love unconditionally. That's the essence of Cancer. That's the power of Cancer. Maximize intensity of interactions with and while protecting emotional sensibility. Ultimately, with the Cancer archetype, it's to create minimal defenses consistent with survival. I remember I used to be super defensive about everything in my life because I just wasn't sure of who I was in my life. And now that there's this surety, I don't even know if that's a word, there's this assurance of how I feel within myself, I feel like now there's just not that many defenses I'm carrying, but I am entering new arenas with less of that, less of the anger, less of the resentment. Like, I guess that's what the defenses are actually. It's not to say you're defensive about your life, but you just hold so much of that judgment and those negative emotions so much within that's how it just ends up projecting outwards. And those are the defenses. The raw materials used for Cancers that hold strong are resources, imagination, subjectivity, and feelings. All those desires to help heal, mother, all of those good essence, try to bring that within and within myself, and specifically within the 10th house. These are the things that I learned. When I went to New Jersey, there was a version I knew I felt I released there. I knew it in the way that when he kicked me out, I just wasn't worried. I was like, all right, it's time to go. It's time to leave this behind. Lack of resources and lack of materials, those are things I face constantly. And with me just simply allowing that transition to happen, I felt like that released the old version of myself. So I left that version there. The way that I entered Toronto, when I came back to Toronto, when I landed in the airport, I didn't even freak out. I was like, all right, I have a transit card. Let me transit to downtown from the airport. That's what I'm familiar with downtown. Let me go to a cafe. Let me familiarize myself with the area again. I went to a cafe. Of course I had a moment where I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm doing here. I have no one I'm talking to here currently. I just don't know. There's so much unknowns, but it was so interesting because I followed my intuition. All I kept hearing in my head was the go spot, go spot, go spot. The reason why I chose that was because I got to have a chance to pay daily, and the price it was daily for 3 days was the same price I paid for a hotel in Washington, D.C. for a night. So in my mind, I was like, you know what? I have the money for this. I'm going to go for this. I'm going to take it day by day because that's what I'm truly learning with all this lessons of patience. It's day by day. In regards to reputation, something I wanted to note for myself, and I hope gets projected outwards, is change from being someone who needs help to someone who can help. Also, the levels of imposter syndrome, each week I stayed there because I stayed there for a month. Each week increased the level of imposter syndrome level, and it was so amazing to feel myself break. Yeah, I deserve to sit in luxury. I deserve to be here. My bill is racking up hard. All the staff are giving me looks. They even ask me, oh, don't you want to stay at a hotel? Don't you think that's cheaper? And I just say, I deserve to be here. And the way that I felt every week about saying I deserve to be here was like this. I will never forget my humble beginnings, but I know I deserve a luxurious life. I'm a Leo, and strong Libra placements, like luxury aesthetics is all within me, and I crave it. I deserve it. I know it's for me. There is a new wave of what luxury, celebrity, all that means. I feel like there's going to be a change in that. I feel like there's going to be a release of ego when it comes to celebrity and all that stuff and what it means to have wealth. I feel that someone like me who comes from simple, humble beginnings, owning a life of wealth and showing truly what to do with it, I think it's going to be so beautiful. I'm shy. A life of luxury is for me, and that's what I'm gonna get. That's what I deserve, and it's gonna be beautiful. Writing letters to my dad and brother of releasing, no sugarcoating, simply just saying what I needed to say, how I truly felt. Boom, I felt amazing after that release. Time reframe, I felt like I just let myself flow. And it released like the anxiety about time with it. I still like to work within time, just to give myself some discipline within the day, because without it I'm a little bit like aloof and just because I can really not care about time at this point. But the work structure I have on my marketing that I do every day, it gives me that discipline where I'm like, okay, I can follow something. During this time I was also able to see more clearly the coaching program I want to initiate called Coming Into Confidence. I really am so excited about it. I still want to fine-tune how I want it to be, but ultimately I want to get it started. I want to enlighten people towards their confidence. Something I wanted to do for so long was this shadow working healing essence. I like to do tarot reads for people, so that's still an option available for purchase. I don't know the word. I also want to do this. Like, there's such a sexual and spiritual side that I want to proceed in with my reputation. Like, I want to have that where I'm working through spiritual work with others within myself, but I also have this sexual experience where I want to do healing through the sexual work. The way I want to present myself in the sex industry is more of a natural essence to it, where, you know, sex is part of our daily lives. This is how we can spruce it up. This is how we can make it more, you know, sensual for ourselves. I want to bring that out into the work I do for my sexual side. My message stands strong in like owning your own truth, own power, owning your own vulnerability through my sexual work by presenting it as such. And it's also my creative space too, because I like taking those type of content as well. During this whole time of caring for myself finally, because before the spa, if y'all have been keeping up with me, I have been in constant movement. I've been walking every day. I've been in constant stress because of like my moving situation. Through this, my sleeping has been so inconsistent. My eating has been so inconsistent. So the care for my body has been so poor and not as much as I've truly been wanting to take care of myself. Now that my body has reached this type of calm, the desire to help others has increased like crazy. During the moments I was connecting with the staff members there, just listening to other people's stories, I realized there's been a heightened increase in wanting to know other people's stories. I think that's just the start of the healing itself, is just to get people to open up about their stories. If that's where I can start, I'm happy with it. I love knowing it. No matter how someone has experienced something, I like knowing how someone has experienced it, how they felt about it, what they learned from it. When I'm curious about something within myself, I explore it so much. So I think that's where the drive comes from. My Gemini Venus loves this. I love undigested facts about people, love learning about it, and that's my love language. It's constant communication, constant flow of that. Like, I don't need to be knowing you like that, but if you talk to me like that, my heart is... This was great. This was a great inner world, knowing about myself, coming to myself and just feeling it. That's all I can say about it. Just happy Cancer season.
Happy Leo season. Leo. What makes this time extra special is I am at a place full of Leos. and I love that for me, okay? It's extra special because Leo is in my 11th house, and 11th house is like your long-term friends or the people you get along with well, or the collaborations, just like a community group type of feel. So that's why I got extra excited about Leo season. Let's see what's gonna happen in this season. My expectations were a little bit high because I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna celebrate and go party and enjoy groups of friends and people. It didn't turn out like that. Instead though, were a lot of nice blessings in between. These are the notes I wrote for the Leo. Leo is a reaction against inwardness of the crab. Like a volcano eruption. Have that like building, figuring out all your insights from the Cancer season, and now it's expressive time. Contents of the mind are made visible. Express mind create outward symbols of the inner world. That's where so much of the self-expression of Leos come from. Development of behavior, personality, and ego. Accept essential absurdity of ego. Revel in it, watch it flow. This is especially so because Leos are the sign of the ego. To observe your ego from a detached place and just watch yourself explore the different facets that you want to explore as a person, the stuff that your inner child wanted you to do when you were younger, like all those things, the way that your ego has formed and processed throughout life. This is a time to highlight it, see where it's at. To perform for the world, one must trust it. That's one of the Leo mottos. When you trust that you'll be accepted, it's more of you trust yourself no matter where you go, no matter what you do. Because when you bring all the power in yourself of what you crave from other people, you are powerful. Life of affirmation and activity. Nothing that inhibits expression will be tolerated. That's where a lot of the roar will come from, especially with Leos. Like I've noticed too, when you try to stop, and this is because I'm just so familiar with the sign myself, but when you try to stop a Leo specifically, considering they're a freaking fire and fixed sign, you're gonna be met with a roar. You're gonna be met with, don't tell me what to do. Type of attitude. Charisma and presence are super important, universal among children, and this goes with Leos having that connectivity with the inner child. Like you're able, when you tap into your own inner child that way, you will be able to connect with children no matter what sign you are. It just is a little bit more natural and easier for Leos, but everyone has the ability to tap into connecting with children because you were one once. Celebrate oneself, maintain innocence, spontaneity, a natural lead creator. All those things are great notes for me to see what a Leo symbolism is in writing and then trying to embody it from that. This kind of wrapped up my current evolution of my Leo sun. I truly feel that way. I feel I'm embodying more into my Libra placements more now. Libra is in my North Node, Ascending, Chiron. It's not like I actually had to fully learn. It was more that I was just observing myself as a Leo. During this time, this is what happened. I made friends with spa staff, first name basis, got to know their stories. They got to know mine. It was really adorable because they would try to understand my routine, and something about that type of effort and attention made me feel special. When I felt that from those things, it kind of reminded me that's what I want to feel with the close people I have around me, choose to have around me. When I open up to new conscious connections, I want that type of attention. I do. I've yearned for that for so long, where I just wanted people to know my little inner quirks and little details, because I would pay attention to that with other people. And when it came to their birthdays, I would try to highlight it, or just whenever it was time to make them shine, I would be like, remember this detail about yourself. So to experience it in a form not as intimate but still there, it was so heartwarming. During this time, I got to reframe my ego a lot by showing up consistently for myself through releasing emotional reactivity. I figured this out during the spa, that emotional reactivity in itself was a comfort zone for me. The way I would react with power, with, confrontation, with sadness, with anger, all that felt so familiar for me. So whenever triggers would come up and I would react that way, that was a comfort zone in itself. There was one moment where I just clicked, it clicked within me. I was like, oh, that's a weird comfort zone, but that is a comfort zone. Since that, whenever I want to negatively react towards something, all I hear in my head is comfort zone, comfort zone. So it's just a great reflective piece for myself. On my birthday, July 25th, I have gotten birthday anxiety for as long as I can remember. I get it on Christmas too. I recently learned that it's when trauma repetitively happens at certain times, it will stay with your body too. And my birthday is a traumatic time for me. I was getting anxious about it. The midnight of it, I already had weird expectations for my birthday as soon as it hit midnight, and I got greatly disappointed within 2 hours. So from before I went to bed that night, and when I woke up, I decided, I was like, I'm gonna have a great big day regardless. I know I don't have the things that I feel like I want at this time, which is, you know, groups of people to be celebrating my birthday with me, or to even be doing anything out of my routine. That's something I really wanted to do at that time. The support that I received on TikTok Live, on my social medias, and then in person from the spa members who I told were my birthday, they just made me feel really valued, really loved, really celebrated. Even though it wasn't like an all at once party type of vibe, getting it in increments from different people throughout the whole day, it just kept me uplifted. Receiving unexpected gifts, messages from people, it was really, I loved it. Also, by the end of the night on my birthday, when they surprised me with the singing and cake, at this point, I didn't expect it at all. I didn't even want to ask for it. When they came anyways, I couldn't even record it. I was so happy and in awe, and I just wanted to appreciate that moment so much, considering how I didn't ask for it. And I know the spa does it for people's birthdays, blah, 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 but it just felt extra nice when the staff that did come around to sing with the robot, they were staff I had talked to for a while being there. So it just felt extra special that like the close staff I was with were there singing. I truly felt like I embodied being an angel of alchemy during this time. I've learned so much to transmute all my negative emotions towards something. It didn't even have to be exactly towards positive. Like, I'm not always trying to change my dark things into a positive experience. It's more of, I want a learning lesson regardless at the end of it. To even know that and hold no expectation that, you know, I'm always gonna experience something amazing after just simple lessons of finding myself, like that in itself was alchemizing. Then I transitioned here. When Leo season was almost halfway in, I transitioned back into the US, eating my words completely by saying, I'm not gonna go to the US. Being surrounded by Leos, this has been an amazing time of mirror reflection. A lot of it had to do with pride. That was such a fun fact to know, because pride is a huge shadow side for me, shadow side for Leos in general, and you know, it gets mirrored back to that person as well. Like the whole pride thing, it's really nice to face my pride without resentment, without anger. It's like I'm meeting my pride with someone else who holds the same amount of pride. Both our suns are in Leo, but every other sign after that isn't the same. So to see how pronounced the Leo archetype is within the ego versus how our other big three is playing out within the connection, like I am keeping as open-minded as possible within new connections now, really accepting everyone for where they are in terms of, you know, you don't have to be spiritual to be around me. If I'm meant to come into your space, I personally know I'm here for a reason. I know I'm gonna be curious enough to explore what that reason is. I don't want to put it on the other person though anymore. That's something that I'm learning. I can definitely say that in the beginning of this year, when I was around different people and different company, it was hard for me to see silver linings and balance because of how much, you know, hurt and stuff I was still holding on to. It became a thing where I knew the lesson in that was everything that I learned there and everything that happened there for what it was. It has nothing to do with my present moment and how I am now, because I know I've changed. There's like a more ease, less seriousness about it all, because I can feel how much I'm releasing control. I thought it was just releasing control of what's happening around me and like flowing with that. Something I'm learning specifically right now, I feel like, is releasing control of the connections itself. I don't want to give people ultimatums. I don't want to change people either. I want to accept everyone for who they are, because that's what I want back. If it just doesn't seem to be a long-term thing, then that's just what it is. As much as I could want it to be, I can also come into complete acceptance now. For now, how I'm seeing is that in the beginning, there was a moment where I wanted this connection that I have here to go a certain way, and I wanted it to flow, but I got met with a lot of resistance every time that happened. I'm glad that I was able to set boundaries. I was able to hold myself still on who I am and not change anything at all about me. Being around other people, finding nuance. I know I'm not going to be here long term. I know, for many reasons, like including my passport's expiring soon, so I kind of can't stay anyways. Just knowing all that is enough for me to understand I want to enjoy every day as much as possible. It doesn't have to be that I'm clinging to that person where I'm like, oh, we have to hang out, we have to do everything together. It's not like that, but it's more of when we are in each other's space and stuff, I want to make them feel valued. I want to make myself hold up that value and just bring back fun, bring back simple fun. And that's something that is also mirroring back between us, is our inner child fun. We do laugh a lot together, have a lot of moments where it's just really playful. When I think of that more than expectations of what I want this connection to be, or like any type of outcome, when I just focus on how much fun I have instead, that has been new but really healing, really relieving. It makes me happy knowing I'm having this much fun, because when the day comes that I'm leaving, there won't be any regrets, there won't be anything like that, because I know how much I'm putting in every day. It's not to say like I'm putting in the most, I'm doing the most. It's more like, if I'm called to be more expressive today, then I will. If I'm called to be more, to myself, then I'll do that as well, and then I'll communicate that with them. It's just a good flow. Another thing to really highlight with the 11th house is I've began collaborations for my sex work. It's me wanting to set a different tone individually within the sex industry space. I want to bring back, I've said this before, but I'm gonna keep saying it till it's just, I really want to bring a different energy towards sex industry, because I want to add a positive example and light towards it. The collaboration that I'm doing fits my aesthetic really nicely. I'm collaborating with someone who also is very passionate about their own work that they do. Videography, the photography, the editing, all of that is their passion, and I'm glad to be working with someone who carries that space, because I've been offered collabs before, but it didn't show the type of effort that I feel like I put in my pictures. To match in that sense and create something amazing together is exciting for me. It's really, really exciting for me. I didn't know for a long time which direction I wanted to go towards, because it felt like if I was going to start collabing in this space, my love life is gonna tank. My love life is gonna be non-existent. It's gonna be harder. But now I've come to this point where I just don't prioritize that type of love anymore. Not to say I'm not open to it. I'm definitely still open to having a relationship, but that in itself held me back from doing what I truly wanted to do, and that's just simply to create how I want. I was literally waiting on relationships up until this point, and kind of holding myself in that space, waiting kept me stagnant. So when I started making action and making moves on doing this right now, it's making me feel amazing. I'm really, really excited for it. Overall, my ego feels like it's gone through an evolution. My 11th house of friendships and the way I want to be within a collaborative, friendly group space it's changed that as well. So excited over how much I'm evolving and seeing it go piece by piece like this. Great Leo season. Virgo season. I'm recording this literally the last day of Virgo season, the 21st of September. Implementing it with my 12th house, which is where Virgo is in for me. The notes that I wrote for Virgo embodiment: spiritual life, transcendence, self-sabotage, dreams, secret life to ourselves. Attaches to nothing, fears nothing, because one of the archetypes of Virgo is the martyr, someone who strongly believes in their own vision, own truth so much that they're willing to stand out on their own. I feel there's no more explanation for me embodying that energy. I feel I've stood on that for the past 2 years. Remains aloof, works on their self, and to pass time, be a service to others. Reaches for a deeper meaning, sense of purpose after Leo activity. Awareness attunes to the new feelings for personal transformation. All of the explorative stuff I did within Leo season, now it's time to, okay, where can I make this of use, especially to myself, but also to my community. Discontentment pushes evolution growth towards purity, perfection, fulfillment, significance, and not perfection as in perfectionism, but the ability to perfect something. So that's mastering a skill. How can you maintain the flame? Humility is a teacher. Honest sense of what's happening in surroundings. I feel that note has to be made, especially to point out the Virgo archetype of over helping and overdoing. Virgos know, because they hold that divine feminine essence. They are the archetype of divine feminine, so they have that inner knowing of what people need. They are one of the first archetypes to know someone else's potential. That is also a downfall, because you can get lost in seeing someone else's potential when there's hard proof that's not what they're working towards or what they even want. It's just something you want for them, knowing they have that capability, but you can't help people who don't want to be helped. You gladly have that ability, Virgos. Just give it towards people who want your type of skill and type of service, you know? You will be greatly appreciated, more so than the people who don't want this help from you. Acts of service balance out the seriousness of practicality. I've been very serious about my spirituality, about protecting it, amplifying it, and implementing what I know with it. I've been really on a spiritual mindset for a very long time, though a way for me to get out of the seriousness of what I've been learning is to really talk to other people, not specifically spiritual people, though of course, you know, anyone that comes into my life at this time, I really see them as moments of learning. The principle isn't to serve, but to be authentic in serving, which will evidently benefit others. Example, you do serve other people best when you're truly yourself, because that's how you'll find the people for you. There will always be audiences who watch just to criticize or to be a negative thing, but no matter what, if you're staying authentic, you won't mind those comments, because it actually doesn't even affect you and how you will operate and how you continue to operate. These comments, these things don't affect you, but you being who you are will show people who resonate with the stuff that you do, and the vision you have, to come towards you, and that will amplify them, and that's what matters more. It's like someone coming into their passion of cooking. They really, really love it. They continuously learn more, and they show that they're learning more while also showing their current skills. Those two things, their current skills and what they're learning, can help other people, but because they're just sharing simply what they're already doing in their day-to-day, that's helping both, because you're not doing anything extra for other people. You are just simply sharing, you know, you're just flow of the fountain. I wrote, mastering a skill, becoming the work, and guiding others aligned. Self-criticism evolution. Self-criticism is one of Virgo's shadow traits. It's because you know the potential so strongly. If you're not acting on your potential, the criticism can go really deep. Way to come into an evolution for the Virgo archetype is to come into complete acceptance, regardless of what you do, who you are, what you offer. You just accept yourself. The things that I learned in Virgo season are complete acceptance of flow and what is when it comes to people and situations, by not fighting it when I feel triggered. Every time I felt really uncomfy in my triggers, living where I have since last year, all I wanted to do was find a way out. My abandonment wounds would come out so strongly. I would just want to continuously leave the situation. I didn't want truly to have another same situation. That's what I kept saying in my head. I was like, I don't want to be around people who don't let me shine, who celebrate me. I don't want to be around it. And when I know that, when I stay in my ego about that thought, it makes it so uncomfy for me to just be anywhere. Really, all I want is that true acceptance. Though at the time I couldn't find nuance. I simply was just like, I just can't be here. I don't want to be here anymore. Seeing myself now through my triggers has been so impressive for myself. Of course, the first week when it did happen, I'm not going to be completely like, the first week I was here, those feelings wanted to come and I wanted to, start planning how to leave, but I actually didn't make any moves. Now though, when I get triggered by anything, I just start saying stuff to myself to make myself feel better. I really pour back into myself, and it's so nice to watch myself do that, because I used to really abandon my own needs hard during the times when I'm trying to abandon the situation too. That's what they prefer to do, and I let them. That shows how you have no control in what someone else does, but you have complete control over how you will feel about it. Let myself feel the things I did. I have felt jealous, and every time I did, now I just say, that's where they prefer to put their attention. I let them do that. I know that jealous triggers are just reminders of what I want. How I completely flip the switch in my head to reverse those jealous feelings. Like, I'm happy that I got to feel them because it showed me that, and now I know how to proceed. Desire to guide others on how to break these mental chains. I feel I've really come out on the other side. I'm still in the process. Like, I'm still like, I'm at the light, I'm scrambling at the top, but I'm still, but the feeling of relief, accomplishment, all that is there. That in itself is so freeing to already feel I have everything I need on the inside. I've been perfecting spiritual practices like meditating every day, miracle mantra, writing in law of assumption. In my journal, in my day-to-days, I write in law of assumption toward whatever comes to my mind, like whatever I'm trying to manifest at that time. I'll just write as if I already had it in my day-to-day. The miracle mantra I have learned through TikTok. There's a whole backstory. I wish I could relay it. Write down 3 things every day, which is to say, I let go of, I am loving blank, I am longing for. Every time you're ready to release things, that's what adds in new. It's not that new can come in before you release anything. So you say what you want to release. That could be tangible things, that could be, limiting beliefs, that could be traits, that could be anything, really, really anything. You say what you're loving, so that comes into your gratitude, appreciation. That could be literally anything. I am loving a new day. I am loving my water bottle. I am loving the love I have for myself. I wrote that the other day. I am longing for, so that's something that you wish to call in more of. Ever since I've been doing that, which has been at the start of Virgo season, there's just been a really I feel flow much more better. It puts me in a state of, okay, I'm trying to release, I know what I'm really appreciating, and I know what I still desire. During this season, I've learned to let go of control a lot, especially within connections in itself. Control in also thinking I know the best for my spirituality, the hidden knowledge. And when you start transferring from a strongly egoic mind to a spiritual one, you will have moments where you don't really know if it's your ego or just spirituality talking. For me, since I've been practicing spirituality for a while, I didn't know that part of my ego was saying, oh, I already know this, I already know enough. I feel now Whenever you say, I already know enough of this, you don't. And that's when your ego comes in. There's so much more to learn about everything, always. There's never a cap on what you can learn. Within connections, I've really learned how to release control and expectations of the outcome. This is something I mentioned in my Connections After Hermit video. It's highlighted again only because this is a huge thing for me. I already wanted to know where to place people in my life by overdoing it on learning about them during our first meeting, during our first everything. Like, I tried to just put people in spots, really, out of fear. Now I know just to really enjoy the connection day by day. With whatever happens, it ends up being that way. If nothing happens, that's also okay, because I wasn't expecting anything anyways. The only way I can feel at this time for me to completely walk away from connections is if I know they hurt me in a way, and not out of ego, like they intentionally want harm for me or want low for me. That I can feel, so I don't want to be around that. Another thing I've let go of expectations for during this time is talking, like communicating. I held a lot of expectations communicating before because I'd be so excited getting to know other people, and if I give that same energy to you upon first meeting, my thought is, okay, if you don't match that energy, I don't want to talk again. I want to be able to just communicate how I really want to without thinking, okay, if they give me monotone, it's whatever. If they give me nothing, it's whatever. It's because I solely wanted to talk like that, and I wanted to communicate the things I did, and that's just that. No communicating to get communicated back. That's something I've really learned, not just here, but I feel like has finalized being here. Now I'm more open to conversations just without expectations to really have answers. I just like that I'm putting, my thoughts out there, my questions out there, in the process of perfecting my spiritual boundaries, hygiene, cleanliness. I just said this, but this point that I wrote down kind of sounds a lot better. I wrote, approaching and maintaining connections from a lighthearted standpoint has helped my past wound of needing to know all of someone right away to see where they fit in my life. This has been a past wound because growing up, I really had no security within any of my connections. Within my guardian, within my family, I never knew where I stood with anyone. In turn, I would try to find control from the connections from the get-go. I'd want to know how you felt about me. Now, I'm really okay without it. Okay. I opened up a Calendly for tarot reading bookings and for my life coaching program, Coming Into Confidence. You can book with me through Calendly. I will put the link below. I'm really excited. I've restarted my tarot readings so many times, but I'm not feeling disheartened from it. It's that every time I did start it, it's because I felt called to do it. I felt comfy at the time to do it, though my format for it would be different. This is maybe like the third or fourth time I'm trying this tarot reading thing again. I love seeing myself embark on this spiritual business side alongside my eggs working. I want to be able to do both very effortlessly and flow in between, because I feel those two so strongly as how I want to create my flow, how I want to create the flow for myself money-wise. I want to just embrace my spirituality and sexuality and receive money for it. Tarot readings will not be live videos because of in the past with me practicing that, I find it actually distracts me way more than getting to the actual reading in itself. The video I would be sending you is as if I'm on live. There's not pauses, there's no editing. It's strictly I'm doing a general reading. I am interpreting it, and in between the interpretation, I'm writing it down as well, because I also provide a worded format for you to read at the end alongside the video to see you know, people have preferences if they want to keep whichever. Read also comes with an answer to your question that you will ask upon booking. Really, really excited to be able to do this. I find it will fit my own boundaries as well as give the clarity and reassurance that you may need. As for the Coming Into Confidence program, I am working on this with my coach. I love to talk about it. I love to amp myself up for it. I don't want to hold expectations on how it's gonna pop off and start. This is a much more committed project than I have done in a while, and it's more personal since it is one-on-one sessions. I'm still working on how to market that for myself since it's completely brand new. I'm learning with my coach. I have a meeting with her tomorrow actually. Within Virgo season, my desire to show others what I've been expanding on spiritually and hopefully providing some kind of encouragement towards not specifically spirituality for yourself, but at least an interest in raising your awareness. That's just to be more present, and that's just to be enjoying your real day-to-days for what they really are. Not, oh, I'm waiting for the weekend. Oh, I'm waiting to get off work. Oh, like anytime you're just waiting for time to pass by, I really don't want that for you. I want to show you how to come into life excited again. You can get excited for it again. It has maybe felt hopeless for a long time, thinking my life would never amount to anything, be anything. I really didn't see a future for myself at all by 23. This is why I party so much to hopefully, which is horrible, but it's something I have to admit, you know, was my thought process. Thank you so much for watching one of these seasonal astrological observations of myself. These journal observations mean so much to me, honestly. So if you watch them, I really appreciate your time for doing that and your interest to even have the interest in my brain this way. If you are a Virgo, or if you're in any of these summer signs, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, drop your signs below. If you had some type of evolution within this summer season, let me know. If you are one of those signs, let me know and tell me how you feel about it. Any observations you have within yourself, I would just love to listen. I would love to know about it. I like to see how people observe astrology in itself. I don't want to come to this point where I want to be like, oh no, you're wrong, because I've studied it and I'm studying it longer or anything like that. It's just, I'm curious on why people think the way they do. And a lot of it is people hold a lot of ego in astrology and thinking, you know, it's a personality trait. Oh, I don't like Capricorns because they seem all heartless or something. That's just something I saw recently. It's your experience you had with maybe a couple Capricorns to make you feel that way. But what did you actually see similarities between them all in terms of traits? All Capricorns are very hardworking people. Boom. That's a strong trait. Like I like to emphasize strengths in the traits that I hear about. Of course, I definitely talk about the shadow sides too. There are some, but I really try to hold off on attaching the shadow aspects towards these signs and generalizing. It really hurts my heart a little bit when people generalize astrology, but that's okay, because you know, it's your own level of understanding. If you don't know too much, it's easier to generalize. But if you have a genuine interest, you would think this world is so expansive, useful, because it is, but I'm not gonna pressure you. Thank you so much. I hope you had a really good summer season. I hope the autumn season brings a lot of, what is autumn's energy? It's right before hibernation season. Spring season is about renewal, right? You got hibernation in winter, you know, coming to your own. Then you have renewal in spring. Then you have summer, that's like your action season. What is fall? I gotta know this. Okay, so fall season embodies Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius. Interesting. I'm gonna find the pattern and we're gonna see what it is in the next video, in my autumn astrology observation video. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Honestly, I can't stop thanking you because these videos are so amazing for me, and your time is just everything. Your time is everything for you to even watch this. Thank you.